Welcome to Journey Now, a podcast about following Jesus that takes on serious issues without ever taking itself too seriously. Each week, the pastors, staff, and friends of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee, gather to catch up, share life together, and laugh a little. Okay, a lot. Maybe too much. But along the way, they also explore what it really means to bring heaven to earth, share Jesus' hospitality, and live cross-shaped lives. Part Babble, part Bible, and occasionally even thoughtful and entertaining, this is Journey Now.
Sorry, Tim. I didn't mean that. I meant that in the nicest possible way.
Are we good? Are we on? Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin, hit it.
Hey, welcome to another Journey
ladies
Now.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about Sunday. There aren't many Sundays where the Spirit moves.
Just 52.
Just the Spirit moves.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you.
So radically.
Yeah.
And I was there to see it. I was front row seat to a guy named Tim Simmons walking up to me saying,
Yeah.
Is his name Timmons or Simmons? And I said, that's a Timmons. And he said, I'm a Simmons. And then it was...
We embraced.
And then we embraced.
No, I didn't even embrace it with my eyes.
No.
It was a quick eye embrace.
His name is Tim Simmons?
Tim Simmons and Tim Timmons.
Simmons.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I was there. And the look on
You're
Tim...
testifying.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I'm a witness. Tim Simmons' face was aglow upon meeting Tim Timmons.
Was it his first time?
Yes,
it had to
I
have
think
been.
it was their first time.
But he knew who you were.
No.
I don't think so.
Huh.
He just heard Tim Timmons and he thought maybe
Simmons.
It's an S.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
mean, and so...
Yeah, I met their whole family.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Tim had a whole thing
Yeah,
going.
they're from here. They've been here a few years.
Yeah, so Tim Simmons met Tim Timmons.
Yeah.
And that, in miniature, summarizes the goodness of Sunday.
Wow.
Similar beard and glasses? Or?
No.
Yeah.
There was no likeness.
Yeah.
It was the joy of Tim Simmons' face at seeing Tim Timmons that it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you hugged him?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Obviously,
so
I hug him.
great.
It's like we're
it's what I
blood
think-
brothers.
It's what I think heaven will be like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll arrive at the gates, and everyone that's similarly named as you will be there
so
waiting.
Funny.
Yeah.
So, and then
Michael Geary. Michael Carl Geary. He did ask me, he said, what's your middle name?
That makes up for the person at the before
Edit
the services.
that. Timestamp that. Woo! Sorry.
That makes up for the person before the services that said to you that he doesn't feel like you're hugging him with his eyes.
That's right.
Go find Susie.
Tom Tommins may have been lurking around the corner.
Tom Tommins was not lurking.
No, the seats were okay. The seats were okay.
Yeah,
Tom was fine.
Tom was fine, but Matt made a little joke.
Yeah, he
He's
goes,
like,
I don't feel like you're hugging me with your eyes. And Tim goes, you're going to have to go see Susie about it.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. So Seth Erre watches the episode on YouTube, right?
Okay,
So every Thursday he watches
This?
on YouTube. Yes. This one, and then on Mondays it's Voxology.
Hey,
but
Sethy.
Hey, Seth.
He must really love you.
He loves all
He's
of us.
invested in
He
your
really
work.
is. He wanted me to tell jokes.
Except for the mornings.
So here's the joke he wanted today.
Okay.
What is Kevin Dixon? And I said, what? And he said, naked. And I said, I'm not going to pass that on.
Well,
That was in the jacuzzi last night. He threw that one.
Okay.
Yep. So I was like, bro, I don't know. He's not, for the record.
Yeah.
But
Checking.
I was trying. Last episode,
Gosh.
we were talking about hugging with our eyes.
Yeah, you might need to take that one out.
And heck no. And I was squinting. I was trying to practice on the camera, like,
Oh, I'm going to hug.
right. And so Seth kept doing that to me all week, but I had no idea what it was.
Oh,
He would just look
that's
at
so
me
funny.
and scrunch up his eyes.
Yeah.
And it took me forever to figure out he was hugging me
With his eyes.
Does he do that in the mornings when you wake him up for school?
Actually, Seth, here's the thing, buddy. In the mornings, when your dad wakes you up in the mornings,
Yes.
buddy, practice doing this. Just hug him with your eyes. Even
Yes,
though you're
please.
tired,
Yeah.
do that because he's
Yeah.
such a good dad.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I mean?
he tells me again today.
Bad
I'm a
dad.
horrible father.
Horrible father.
For kicking him out every day. So yesterday he laid on me, shut up. I said, son, you got to get up. Nope. Got to get up. Nope. Got to get up. Nope. Skip school. Nope. So I had to exercise a little discipline. So we took away the floppy for the morning.
Oh.
So he had to just sit there on the rug with no floppy.
Oof.
And then he came. I mean, this is how great he is. I pick him up after school. Dad, I have something to tell you. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for being mean. Yes. So then he got.
That's so
he
great.
got loves. I only love him when he's good.
Yeah,
So I guess that's the key to parenting.
Yeah.
Is I only love him when he's good.
Yeah.
So anyway, so hugging.
That's
It was happening. Tim Simmons, Matt, and Seth Erre,
Kevin naked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Glorious.
Yeah.
Yes.
No
Now,
one needs to see that.
well, all I know is I once got a couple massage with Justina.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Speaking of,
And I asked the guy, I'm like, have you ever given a massage to a fuzzy Olive Garden breadstick? And because that's what I felt like. I felt like, and I think I look like an Olive Garden breadstick.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did he say?
Yeah.
And
Answer?
he just said, keep breathing.
Yeah.
Shut your face.
Yeah.
Shut your face.
Don't make it awkward.
Do not ask me
Don't
another
make it
question.
weird.
Yeah, we're not going down that
Have you
path.
ever gone to massage the Baymax? No. All right. So Tim, let's talk about the hat. The hat that I can fill in.
The generic hat.
Yeah. What do you want it to say?
Yeah. What I wanted to say is, my elbow's better. Let's play. That's what I wanted to say.
Oof.
That's what I wanted to say.
So tragic.
I want that to say that too.
I know.
Everybody, if you're not watching, I have a hat with a blank
Blank slate.
slate on
Yep.
it.
It's a trucker hat.
It's a trucker hat with just a blank slate.
Yeah, it really is.
it.
And Tim, what called out to you today, besides your 10 o'clock, reminding you that you had a 10 o'clock? What called out to you today about wearing that hat?
And how many hats do you have?
He has
I have
lots.
lots
He has
of hats.
lots. He has a hat.
But I'm bald.
He has a hat closet.
And I care about my skin because I've had to have some removed.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Next question.
I am glad to touch those nerves here and there.
So Tim Timmons has to leave a little early today.
Tim does.
And so no worries. When he gets up, runs out,
Yeah.
it's just fine.
It's going to be seamless.
It will
Totally
be.
seamless.
You will never notice.
Yeah.
You'll never notice.
It'll be glorious.
We had a meeting with Grant, the agent.
Agent Grant.
Agent Grant.
CIA agent.
Yep. Where in the world is Agent Grant?
Yes.
And yesterday he gently reminded us of our duties as podcasters.
Did he?
Yes.
He did?
Yeah, I
did?
forgot completely what he said, but I'm sure it was great.
Yeah, glorious.
No, he didn't. He didn't at all. I was just talking.
Okay.
Susie, how are you?
There's that.
I'm great.
It takes a lot of effort to just fill empty space.
Yeah, man, you're doing
that.
it.
Let me tell you right
You're
now.
doing a great
I do
job.
it in my car.
Yeah.
I do it just walking down the street.
You're doing
Yeah.
it like a breadstick.
Like a breadstick.
Do you have a hard time with empty space?
I don't.
Okay.
I love empty space. Believe me, I will go home and not talk to anybody after
this?
2
Yeah, yeah.
hours
But if
of
there's
journey
people
staff.
in the room, do you hate empty space? Like, do you feel like you have to fill the space?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not if they're the right people. Then
Yeah.
no. That's the test of whether or not they're the right people.
Right.
If I feel like I have to keep the thing going, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
Because I'm, believe it or not, an introvert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the right people, you just kind of sit there.
Well, the way he's going today, it makes it feel like I'm not one of the right people. How about you?
Well, like I was
I
saying,
feel like I'm one of the right people.
Oh, but he's filling all the space.
I know, but he's playful.
Oh, that's
I am playful. I played such good pickleball today.
That's what I heard.
Let me tell you right now.
Word on the street.
The dominoes.
dominoes.
The dominoes of 60 and 70-year-old senior citizens that
Yeah.
Wow.
fell
Yeah.
to my racket
Wow.
today.
Wow.
Amazing. So yes, I'm doing great.
Littered.
Yeah. So let's
the
ask
floor
this
is
question.
littered.
Let's ask this question.
Yeah.
Just because I love you guys and we didn't talk enough yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't
We
talk
spent
enough.
3 hours together.
Yes, we
yesterday.
did.
Talking.
And
That's all we did
And you know
was
what I
talk.
did? I just sat in my truck and I got home, did all my chores to get ready for
Yeah.
Sethi. And then before I went and got him, I just sat in my truck in silence. I just sat there and it was glorious. Empty
Wow.
space galore.
It takes that much out of you?
It does.
Wow.
Like staff retreat,
Yeah.
I love it. It's hard,
Yeah.
but I love it. And I love the people. So we do it. Now, that's not the question.
So we
I
do
need
it.
peak and pit just for the last couple of days from you three. All right. So Susie, deep breath, deep intake of breath. All right. Let's catch up the listener on the comings and the goings of the Journey staff and how things are. Tim, we'll go with you last because we know.
What if we don't get to him and he has to leave?
I think
it'll be seamless.
Yeah. All right, Susie, you had a very big inhale to that question. So give us a peek in a pit last couple of days. Didn't have to be glorious.
Well, I would say the peak for me was yesterday. I have a lot of fun in 3-hour meetings with you guys.
Okay, I like that. So
that was
me too.
good.
I don't want to give the impression that I did not.
And I also, and then Saturday I had 3 of my kids and a bunch of their friends over all day.
Oh, nice.
That was good. That was a
fun.
good peak.
That's very fun.
Yeah, they were watching UFC, which we have opinions about, but
we
it's
have
okay.
opinions. Yeah.
The pit
But you're a great mama.
for
But
me.
you're a great mama.
Thank you. The pit for me, I think I'm feeling a lot of anxiety about this election.
It's in the water. Yep.
I'm feeling some kind of way. Yeah. And I'm trying to practice all the practices of,
Did you vote?
I sure did.
And there you go.
Yeah, we swapped voting photos.
It's very
last Friday.
cathartic, I have to say.
You thought it was cathartic?
Yeah, like I thought, I
voted
felt like,
this
okay,
morning.
I'm doing something about this.
Yeah, a
Anxiety
bit of agency
that I feel.
in the
Yeah,
midst.
it was it was helpful to go vote.
Ah.
But yeah, I mean, I
That's your
think
pit.
more so
sure.
than what is, whoever gets elected, it's more about like the way human beings are treating each other in this country.
Yeah.
And like the things that are permissive to say.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure there's going back.
Yeah, it's really.
I'm not sure there's a going back from this.
It's really, really hard. So there's been a culture shift in our country that has been very evident in these last weeks of the election. And, I had a friend text me yesterday that her dad, was very upset with her because she sees things differently than he does. And so it just, it makes me feel very uneasy.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah.
And what I mean by no going back, I think we've reached a point where it's okay to treat each other this way, and there's not going to be this rising up of civility,
right,
from some quarter. You know what I mean? I just
I
think we're just stuck in tribal, polarized America that will just get more and more entrenched, and kind of the unified 80s. Where
Well, the people who we would look to condemn certain things that would help it not be that way are not doing that.
Yeah.
So that's...
Or they're not being heard.
Speaking of not being heard, Kevin.
Yeah, right. Well, I thought we were going with Tim second.
Oh, no.
No, Tim last.
Nope, Tim last.
Kevin's got clothes on. Continue.
Yep.
Yes, I am fully clothed.
Yeah.
I went to vote this morning.
Yep.
And
I can hear the joy.
That's his peak, obviously.
So the guy puts up the screen, and I said, I kind of looked at him. I said, "Are these all my choices?"
Oh, that's funny. That's
And he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah." He's probably about 80.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
He didn't get it.
And I said, I mean, literally, these are the best we can do, because he goes, "You can write in anybody you want." And I said, "Why, thank you."
Yeah.
Did he give you a coffee stirrer to make your selections?
He did.
I didn't get one.
I didn't either. Apparently in Davidson County.
You get a little orange,
or it
red
could be
straw.
an age thing.
You get a red straw.
No, because
they give it to everybody.
Layla, who's only 28, she got one.
Oh, okay. So anyone over 27.
Young and really old.
She said that
Yeah.
she said that people were complaining that their fingers weren't selecting the right ones. So
Oh my
They
goodness.
gave-
That's funny. That's funny.
Well,
See, it all depends upon which finger you're using.
I mean,
I personally
use
use
your
my
middle
middle
finger.
finger.
yeah.
There's the shock.
the middle finger
There it
is
is.
stronger than all
is.
the other
It is.
fingers.
And
It
it's
gets a lot
longer.
more exercise from Kevin
Longer.
Dixon. Yes, if you've ever driven with Kevin, he waves that thing around and just exercises.
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
friendly.
It's very,
I'm
you
friendly.
are friendly.
There's
yes.
a tree.
There-
Yes.
There's a
So, okay, so that was
So-
peak or pit, bro.
Oh, That definitely was Pitt.
Okay.
I still
I think
was
we sensed that, but
under my breath, I was like, "This is the best we can do." I kept saying it over and over again while I was voting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
people feel that way in our church.
I know.
Yes.
Yesterday, after I had a good time over at Grant's.
3 hours. Yeah, 3 hour.
Those
3 hour
pumpkin
tour.
muffins.
Oh, those were so good.
I did not
Thanks,
eat any.
Grant. We're to die for.
No,
not
thank
eat
you,
any.
Judy.
Proud of you, Mike.
Thank you, Judy. They were to die
Did
for.
you have any?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, they were really
Tim
good.
had about 8 scoops of fruit salad.
Yeah.
We had one on our way out.
Yeah.
So
They
good.
looked so good.
They were
They
really
were,
good.
yeah,
Sorry.
yummy.
Yeah.
Kudos to you for exercising self-control.
You know what? I just went home and ate a gallon of ice cream. So, no, I did not. I did not do that. I'm feeling the emptiness. No, I did not.
Good job.
Thank you.
But the highlight of my day yesterday,
Yes, sir.
besides the fact that they couldn't install my dishwasher, I went home. The dishwasher was in the garage,
Yes, sir.
and my grandkids were there, and they wanted me to rake up a pile of leaves,
Yes, sir.
so they could jump in it.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
that's so
And-
bad.
Yes, sir.
And so okay, this is where I grew up. It was rake it up. They said, "Can you get the blower and blow us?"
No. That's so lame. That's so lame. You rake it, ladies and gentlemen.
And then the 7-year-old takes the blower out of my hand and said, "Let me help."
Yeah.
And then
That's amazing.
It was all over.
It's
It
over.
was hilarious. And then they got out their bikes and they were showing me all the things they can do on their bikes.
cute.
And I
That's
was
perfect.
in a different world.
Delighted.
Oh, that's great, Kev.
See?
Pinnacle,
great.
Yeah.
peak,
Yeah.
whatever you want it.
You were in your bag.
It was there. Hug them and squeeze them.
Yep.
And then it was the first time my grandson had ridden a pedal bike
Oh, nice.
with training wheels on it.
Yeah. So he was showing
Yep,
off.
showing me all the stuff.
Yeah.
Gets off and he goes, puts his hands in the air and he goes, "I'm amazing."
Yeah.
And I went, "You are."
That's
That's
so
great.
It
great.
was fantastic.
That's
That's
great.
so great.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
That's perfect.
Yeah.
yeah.
Michael?
That's why I live in Nashville.
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna just for the last couple of days. I mean, obviously the 3 hour meeting.
Yeah.
Just-
Hey, yo.
I mean, that's peak of peaks.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and Lord of Lords.
I mean, your day to day, your pickleball
I
day.
mean, dude,
Yeah.
it was just so fun. It was so fun. Pitt. I don't know that I have one from the last couple of days. I don't know that I have one.
Great.
When
That's
did
worth
you vote?
celebrating.
When did you vote?
I voted last week Friday.
Okay, so
And it was in Williamson County, and it was like 15 minutes. It was great. And they didn't give us straws. I
didn't.
trusted my fingers.
Yeah.
And I used the pointer, just for the record. Just for the
That's
record.
because
I
you
was
have fat
making no
thumbs.
statements. I do not have fat thumbs. I have the only thing that's slender on me are my damn fingers. All right? So everything else is sausage. Sausagey is what I was going to say, but I'm not going to. Sausage fingers is where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Okay? All right?
That is purely,
Come back.
that's above the line. That's
my pit right here.
yeah.
Right here.
You feel misunderstood.
I do. How do I feel? I feel misunderstood.
Yeah.
I feel condemned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I feel alone. I feel empty. I need a pumpkin muffin.
Money. There you go.
Judy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Speaking of sausage,
Yes. Timmons, what do you have for us?
So good.
It started.
Oh my gosh. I
started when
could
was
see
like,
it like
there's no
coming
more-
out of
Yeah,
your mouth.
There's
and
no
you're
more
like,
making this up.
yeah,
There's no going back on the podcast.
you got sauce. Yeah,
Sauced?
yeah.
There was just no way to
Yeah.
finish that.
It was
sentence.
almost you got the A in sausage.
Yes.
And then-
yeah.
Yes.
You couldn't-
Anyway, hi Brad. Brad knows what I'm talking about. Brad has very, very, very like
No, just let it go.
thin
All right.
fingers too. Brad does.
I do not.
I know. That's the only. I'm not going there. Okay, go ahead.
Did you vote?
I have not voted yet.
Okay.
But we're gonna vote.
Yeah.
And I will not use a stick stirrer because I heard
Coffee.
I heard that they're
Demon possessed.
they've been trained to
Oh, yep. Yep.
actually choose
Yep.
somebody else.
Yes.
So
Yep. I've heard those are Venezuelan.
that's what I'm trying to
Stirrers.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, they're communist. So,
anywho.
yep. That's smart.
Gosh, peak. It has been a really terrible few weeks.
Yes.
I keep getting texts from more friends with cancer or more. It's so ridiculous. The amount of terrible things that have come through my phone in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a lot.
And yet, so that's kind of my pit. But my peak is there have just been some really beautiful moments with my family, just with my kids.
Love that.
I'm like, oh, that's
There's a reason why you let them live.
Yes. Yeah, just some moments like say
why I feed them.
Everything in life is up for grabs all the time. I mean, we all have moments, and tomorrow, let's hope we get tomorrow. That's kind of my posture anyways. But when I'm just seeing something beautiful, I'm just saying, that's beautiful. I'm just going to celebrate that. So just these little moments.
So fun, dude.
Fleeting moments that tomorrow could be totally different.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well said.
Feeling
That's
sober.
awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And speaking of sober,
Yes.
Peter says, be sober-minded and alert because the enemy is out there trying to devour us.
Right.
And so
The monster.
the monster, if you live near the dragon, it does not do to leave the dragon out of your calculations.
No, that was such a brilliant quote.
Freaking Tolkien.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So smart.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
If you live next to the
I
dragon.
thought where it was going was if you live next to the dragon, maybe you should move. I think
that's good. That's good.
I thought that's what you were going to say.
Well,
but you didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Naked quotes by Kevin.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Because that's where I went.
All cues.
Well, if you live next to the dragon, it's time to move.
It's time to move.
Yeah.
Yep. So we were talking about the powers. We introduced the idea of the powers, and there's all sorts of thoughts and opinions and experiences out there around this, and so we tried to just start with Paul's vocabulary. What are the words?
When you say this, what do you mean by this?
The idea of the powers and principalities, Satan, spiritual warfare, demonism, demonic possession. I mean, the whole thing is just fodder.
Did you read This Present Darkness?
I did.
Oh my! Back in the day, the
Obvious.
Paredes.
Obvious.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
The first few chapters were a slog, but it got going after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Book reviews from 1992.
You got
Kevin
it.
Dixon.
I think it was more like 89.
Was it 89?
It was
Yeah.
80s.
I
It's
think
the
I read
80s.
it. I think I read the second one in 92 because I have a picture of it in my dorm room.
Yeah.
Reading one of
But that, I bring it up because that shaped a lot of people's
Oh, my
views
goodness.
of what
Yes.
spiritual warfare is.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And in every situation, it was, looking back on it, I was reading somebody who'd commented on those novels. Every situation, there was a woman who was a temptress. And I think that also got stuck in the evangelical
Well, that was
imagination
already
as well.
there.
I know, but it just
Yeah,
but it
it was
attached
already
it to
there.
spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
And it was just it's interesting to look back on it now. There were those cultural moments in the evangelical subculture that really were defining in terms of the categories that we brought to the text, and that was absolutely one of them.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah. So
Screw
tapes
tape
letters
also shaped it.
So genius.
Was there a female temptress in that? I don't remember.
It was more the demons talking.
Yeah.
The fawn. Yeah.
That's line which one we're both. I love it.
I
No, I love it. I knew where you. Come on.
Yeah. Just being dumb.
Yes.
Continue.
Of course.
With Dephesians.
Dephesians.
Yeah.
With the hands
According to
waving.
Seth, Dephesians.
Yeah.
That's how Seth Erre says it. We got a good question in.
I thought so.
And I really want to hit it. I know, Tim, you've got to leave seamlessly in 5 minutes.
Yeah, you guys have plenty of time.
We have plenty of time.
You mentioned they're referring to you.
Anytime
when they say
it
you
starts
on here,
that way.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just forward it to Mike.
Okay. Well, I didn't. You mentioned that the spiritual warfare is being waged by two sides over contested territory.
Ooh.
But that it has been won already in the church. My question is, why does it look like or feel like that we currently don't have a victory in myself or the church?
This question is what Ephesians is answering. So I could not. Whoever wrote this, I hope you're listening because that is
I'll tell them to
genius.
tune in.
Yeah, that is an absolutely genius question, and it's the reason Paul spends chapter 3. After he spends 2 chapters talking about the victory of Christ over the powers. Then in chapter 3, he talks about him being in chains and how him being in chains isn't evidence of defeat or Ephesians. It's actually evidence of the victory of Christ. And so the point he makes there, which is the point that Paul makes all throughout the letters,
which seems counterintuitive to
that's
me.
it.
Yeah.
That the victory of Jesus is found in weakness, persecution, social, like low social standing. Like that's where that victory is manifested. And so if you're looking for victory as Romans defined victory, right? Nike, which is the goddess of victory, and it's the glorious triumphal procession of conquering over. And Paul does use that image, but he's always at the end of the procession, which is fantastic. But here he's subverting what victory looks like. So the Christ's victory over the powers came in his defeat, and Paul's display of Christ's victory over the powers is that he's in prison.
Yeah.
That's the twist. And so, yes, I totally get it. And we think victory looks like I'd never sin, I never struggle, I never doubt, I never fear. It's just a one smooth road. And so much of chapter 3 is Paul saying it hasn't been smooth for me. And that's actually evidence of Christ's victory over the powers, that there are a bunch of people who have no other reason to come together and celebrate a meal than what Jesus of Nazareth has done. And that there's nothing special or bold or bright or strong about those people, that they're sitting there in weakness as gift recipients, sitting around the table of a caring Father.
So what does it look like then for the church to display the victory of Christ?
That is what 4, 5, and 6 are about. So in 4, Paul pictures the Jesus who has gone, he's descended into the depths, and now he has come and he's giving victory gifts to his church. And those gifts are apostles and prophets and teachers and preachers. And those gifts exist then to be gifts to the rest of the church, to equip them for works of ministry. And there's a very famous church verse. It also looks like, and this is the surprise, and Kevin, man, this is one of Kevin's hot button issues, and it was Paul's, is that we have to fight for unity. The way the church manifests, the primary way the church manifests the triumph of Christ over the powers is in their unity.
So what I'm hearing you say is that
you mentioned,
what I'm hearing you say is that the reality of Christ's victory isn't always shown through the church. It's meant to be shown through the church.
Isn't always shown. No, the existence of the church shows
Okay.
always the victory over the powers. We're to be the people who live as though that victory were actually true. That's the part we don't always do.
Okay.
But Paul would say the fact that the church exists as a new humanity made up of Jew and Gentile.
Right.
That's the triumph. Now, whether or not the church performs that triumph, to use Gambas's language, right? That's up to the church.
Yeah.
So Ephesians 4, 5, and 6 is how does the church perform the triumph it has in weakness in its role as the victory monument over the powers. And so it's so, I mean, it's what you said, Kev. It's so upside down and so counterintuitive.
Yeah.
And that's where Paul, he will make, like in Corinth, he will choose the lowest social position as a manual laborer to shame, right? All of those super apostles who were too good for that, and they're just raising money because of their rhetoric. He will choose the lowest social position. He'll call himself a slave for Christ. He does all of that in order to show what the victory of Christ looks like. And it's always the meek, the peacemaker, it's everything that Jesus embodied, taught, and then performed himself in the cross and resurrection. So that's the big shock of Ephesians. It's, yes, he's triumphed over the powers, but how he triumphed.
Yeah.
It's, you could not be, like when Paul says in Corinthians, it's foolishness and nonsense, right? It's nothing to the Jews. It's nonsense to the Jews. Why? Because they expected a Davidic warrior. And it's foolishness to the Greeks. Victory looks like supremacy. It doesn't look like defeat at the hands of your enemies. That's why, that is why the cross, Paul will just keep emphasizing, I just do nothing but Jesus crucified. That's what he means. the cruciform announcement wanted to be, the Jews wanted to hear it as a militaristic victory, and so do Americans.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
for sure.
and the Greeks wanted to hear it as a triumphal procession with Christ at its head. And we do too. But he says it's foolishness to both, because the wisdom of God is wiser than the wisdom of humanity, and the strength of God, or the weakness of God is stronger than the strength of humanity. That's what he's meaning.
Yeah.
I think I butchered that verse, but you know what I mean. It's all inverted and upside down.
Yeah.
So that question, did that come up at all in your class?
I think it did. The class was kind of all over the map on Sunday. All over the map.
Well, we're all bringing experiences, preconceived ideas.
See you, Tim.
Love you, Timmy.
Bye, Tim.
Tim Simmons.
I think I think what they were struggling with in the class was, if in fact he's triumphed, how do we live into that in such a way that makes sense for us?
Totally.
That's probably what they were all trying. As I walked away from the meeting, I was going, okay, that's what they were asking.
Yep.
Because they're all, how to frame that up, how to talk about that.
I love it.
And we ended up talking a little bit about Romans 7. Sin is my companion that is continually enticing me, and there's this battle. Why is there this battle? If he won, why is there still a battle? Because it's still here. It's not yet. It's not fully. It's not fully. We're not fully in the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
It's inaugurated, but not complete.
Yes. And it's interesting that, so in the text Suzie and I are going to talk through for the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
He does bring up this age and the age to come. So we have to introduce the powers, talk about what Paul's praying for. We'll go back into who the powers are. And then the last question is how they relate. And that now and not yet bit is the key bit in understanding why is there still lament, cancer, disease, even though the victory of Christ is sure.
Yeah.
Why is that still happening? And it's all surprise. None of it. I mean, one of the big reasons why I think this is true is that there was nothing, that's not true, nothing in the major thoughts of Judaism that would have conceived of messianic conquering coming in this way. There was the suffering servant that was thought to be Israel's role in the nations.
Right.
But there was nothing in the water in the first century that said, no, what's going to happen is that Jesus will be crucified by Roman officials, and that will be his enthronement into the kingdom.
Right.
And that all of those who will follow after him have to be similarly crucified, either very literally or in a metaphorical sort of way. And that's just, it just made no sense. And so much of the New Testament is trying to make sense of, we thought the resurrection was going to happen at the end of the age where everybody, and it's just this one dude and a few people at the end of Matthew. And what the heck? Sin and death are still here. Rome's still in power. How could this, how can this be? And when you read the New Testament with that sort of question in mind, you can see why they spend so much time on, nope, Jesus hasn't come back yet. Nope, he hasn't come back yet. Like in Thessalonians, nope, you haven't missed it.
Yeah.
Or 1 Peter, what kind of people should we be as we wait?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's a big part of the, I think, the equation that this generation actually has to wrestle through.
How so?
I think the patience for the coming of Jesus is turned into we will force it.
Yeah, we will make utopia.
Yeah.
We will force it. We will, and we will use whatever means we have to make, whether that's political, whether it's
protest,
whatever it is, and it doesn't look cruciform.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel cruciform. It's looking for victory. I was struck, and yesterday we had this meeting with Grant. Grant's been
Grant
over to Sweden a few times to visit his son was over there, and he started talking about Sweden.
Yeah,
and it's a socialistic country, which if you say that to a typical American, that's offensive.
Well, that's bad.
That's bad. It's not just bad. It's like you're
evil.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to start calling you names.
Marxist, socialist.
Yeah.
Don't forget
communist.
fascist. Don't forget fascist.
Fascist.
I don't know the differences, but they all seem to fit together.
Yeah. Somehow, some way, right?
Yeah.
But I was struck. I was listening to him talk about it, and I was like, wow, because it's socialism. They're not aspiring to be the richest people.
Yeah.
They're not aspiring to great wealth. They're not aspiring to, and he said, but the relational capacity of these people is amazing.
Mm.
And
it's nothing but relational.
Yeah, because no one's trying to step on anybody else to get ahead.
And caring for everyone is built into the system.
Right. It seems, anyway.
Well, he was contrasting it with what he was calling transactional relationships,
right?
Which
we've
all experienced. Yeah, he was not a fan of.
No. Which he assigned to a particular state.
Yes, that rhymes with fornia.
That 75% of us come from.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
I think he's on to something.
Yeah, well, he said he moved because of that.
Yeah.
And then he was talking, he was contrast. And I thought it was a great point of, I wonder how the gospel sounds there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was in my mind going through. What does unity look like then? What is the calling out of that into unity?
Totally.
I mean, I think it's real obvious here.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting.
And it's really offensive here.
It's interesting because I think I have cousins that are missionaries in Europe. And it's interesting because the flip side of this is that they have all their needs met.
Okay.
So or they have the potential of having their physical needs met.
Yeah.
And so there's you have to be able to identify what the other needs are and why the gospel,
what it addresses.
Yeah.
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 In that culture.
Yeah. Like the desperation comes from a different place. I don't know what place it comes from, but it's like,
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But just to hear him talk about it, though, I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure it has its own sets of weaknesses, but there was something compelling because what it reminded me of was Acts when the people who had much gave and the people who did not have much received.
Right.
Yeah.
So that everyone shared.
Yeah, and it kind of met in the middle somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you're like, and I know we want to label that, but how much of that is just my being reared in a culture that says capitalism good, everything else bad.
Right.
And how much of that is
one's biblical and one's not. I've had people tell me that capitalism is biblical.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. The Jubilee economy in the Old Testament is not capitalistic.
Not at all. No, it's not.
No.
So I don't think you can make a biblical economic argument unless you're going to start gleaning and give the land, rest every
7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And socialism itself, well, you can't say, well, is that biblical? Well, it's got some elements, but
sharing is.
Yeah, sharing is. Yeah. But anyway, all that to say, I think we make up systems to suit things.
Well, and back to the powers, like the social life of the church is how we live into the victory.
Right.
So that we are carrying each other's burdens, right? That all assumes weakness. Yeah. We're forgiving one another. All assumes continued sin, right? We're patient with one another and generous and hospitable and all those things. That's the living into the victory over the powers. It's making up for each other's weaknesses. Yeah. And I don't know. To me, that's a really compelling picture because I never used to look at the church as a place where weakness was, expected or to be met with kindness. To me, church was a place where you would go and pretend strength.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's been such a revolution for me to encounter people who meet weakness with kindness, generosity, hospitality, listening, curiosity, the whole thing. So
it's interesting because I remember being told that to accept defeat, to sit in your sorrows, to have anything other than joy and presented hopefulness is giving giving the enemy like
a foothold,
or
right.
like a way, but
that's right.
Like we need to act like people who are victorious, and that meant like happy, joyful, strong.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Paul didn't act that way. It's fascinating. He got critiqued because he didn't act that way.
Yeah.
Which is humans. That's what humans do.
Yeah.
I
love that. And so, back to decisions we make about our culture. Part of our conversation yesterday was how do we embody weakness well?
Right.
And we don't have that figured out. It's just we know it's super important. And how do we embody it as people who are paid by the church and called pastoral? But more than that, how do we embody it as a community so that there's a genuine sense that we're limping together along? I don't know. And so it's stuff we're wrestling with and thinking about.
Yeah.
Punch
Sounds
it.
good.
Punch it.
All right. Well, go vote.
Vote for Jesus.
Good luck. May God bless you as you travel. Anything else?
And may he bless you as you
keep you from the evil.
I didn't know where travel was going. I was trying to bring travel back.
Oh.
Travel mercies?
Sure.
God, travel mercies for everybody.
There it is.
Con Dios.
Ooh.
Go with God.
Oh, here we go. Now we're using
Hi, Brad. I love
language.
you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Journey Now. If for some bizarre reason you liked it, help us spread the word by leaving a review and sharing it on your socials. Journey Now is a production of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee. Edwin Rivera III produces the show and fixes all the guest slurping, gum chewing, coughing, and other annoying sounds. Randy Hansen provides technical assistance, even though he denies it. Grant Opperman edits Journey Now and intervenes when necessary to tell the crew that you can't say that. Special shout out to dear listener Brad Erie and dear YouTube watcher Seth Erre. If there's anyone else who makes it through each week, we're so sorry, and thanks to you too.